Days pass here without being counted, melting into one another without names or numbers. There are no calendars hanging on the walls, no clocks ticking to offer comfort or false hope, no way to measure how long the suffering lasts or when relief might come. Time is no longer something you watch. It is something you endure. It is measured only by repetition, by the endless cycle of effort and recovery. One movement follows another, precise and unforgiving. One breath follows the next, sometimes shallow, sometimes controlled but never wasted. Slowly, almost without realizing it, the body stops asking when it will end. The mind stops searching for an exit. In that quiet acceptance, something important becomes clear. This is not punishment. This is not chaos. This is the process, and every moment within it is shaping something stronger, something more resilient, something that could not be built any other way. Morning begins the same way every day, without ceremony or delay. Cold air rushes into the lungs, sharp and unforgiving, stealing warmth with every breath and forcing the body fully awake. Muscles are still sore from yesterday's punishment, stiff and heavy, carrying the memory of every strike, every stance, every fall. Yet the body moves anyway, not because it feels ready, but because it has learned that readiness is not required. There is no warm-up meant for comfort, no gentle easing into the day, only preparation for survival. The ground beneath the feet is hard and unyielding, offering no support, no mercy. The training that follows is even harder, pushing past pain and fatigue, demanding effort when there seems to be nothing left to give. And yet, beneath the strain and exhaustion, something inside begins to adapt, quietly growing stronger, more resilient, learning to endure what once felt impossible. At first, every command feels heavy, pressing down not just on the body but on the mind as well. Every correction feels personal, as if each mistake is a direct reflection of weakness. Each adjustment a reminder of how far there is to go. Frustration builds, doubt creeps in, and the urge to resist quietly grows stronger. But over time, something shifts. Emotion slowly drains out of each movement, leaving no space for anger, embarrassment, or pride. The body begins to respond automatically, flowing from one action to the next without hesitation, without inner debate. Movements become instinctive, precise, and efficient. In that moment, when effort replaces feeling and discipline replaces emotion, the training finally starts to work, reshaping not just the body, but the way the mind obeys purpose. At first, every command feels heavy, pressing down not just on the body but on the mind as well, as if each word carries weight that settles deep into the muscles and thoughts. Every correction feels personal, like a direct judgment, as if each mistake exposes weakness, and every small adjustment becomes a reminder of how far there still is to go. There is a moment during the drills when exhaustion becomes complete, when the body has given everything it has and there is nothing left to hold back. It is not just physical exhaustion, not only burning muscles or aching joints, but a deep mental emptiness that settles in quietly. Thoughts begin to fade one by one. Worries that once felt loud and urgent completely vanish. The noise inside the mind goes silent. There is only motion and breath, steady and continuous, existing without effort or resistance. In that state, pain loses its power over you. It does not disappear. It is still present in every movement and every breath, but it no longer controls behavior. The body continues calm and focused, guided not by discomfort or fear, but by pure momentum and acceptance. This is what the masters are waiting for, because they know that real learning does not begin with showing intelligence or proving worth. In their view, true learning starts only when the ego becomes quiet and the mind becomes open. When a student stops trying to impress others, stops competing, and stops focusing on winning arguments or appearing superior, the space for genuine understanding slowly opens. At that point, learning is no longer about collecting information but about transforming awareness. This kind of understanding cannot be fully explained through words or theories, because words remain on the surface. It is born from direct experience, practiced again and again with patience and honesty, until inner resistance weakens. As that resistance fades, clarity grows naturally, and the lesson becomes part of the student rather than something memorized from the outside. Not everyone survives this phase, because it demands more than talent or effort. Some people leave quietly without explanations or excuses, simply fading away when the process becomes uncomfortable. They do not fail because they are weak or incapable, but because they are unwilling to change the parts of themselves that no longer serve them. This environment does not bend or reshape itself to suit individual comfort or preferences. It remains firm in its standards and expectations. Here, growth is not optional, and adaptation is required. The discipline stays constant, and it is the student who must learn to adjust, to let go of old habits and identities, and to reshape themselves in order to continue forward. Here, mistakes are not feared or hidden. They are welcomed as an essential part of the process. Every mistake exposes a weakness that might otherwise remain unseen, and that weakness becomes a clear lesson pointing toward growth. Failure itself carries no shame, because it is simply evidence of effort and engagement with the challenge. The only real failure is refusing to learn from what went wrong, closing the mind instead of using the experience to improve and move forward with greater understanding. Those words stay long after the training ends. One evening, as the sun slowly disappears behind the mountains and the air grows quiet, a master speaks in a calm and gentle voice. He explains that fighting others is often simple, because the enemy is visible and the struggle is clear. Fighting yourself, however, is a far more difficult path, one that can take an entire lifetime. The strongest opponent you will ever face is not outside you, but within you, the part of yourself that seeks comfort, avoids difficulty, and chooses ease over growth. Overcoming that inner resistance requires patience, honesty, and continuous effort, far more than any battle with another person ever could. On the final day, there is no celebration, no applause, and no certificates to mark the end of the journey. There is only one last session, carried out in complete silence, just like many before it. The drills are the same and the stances are unchanged, yet everything feels different from within. Movements that once felt unbearable now feel controlled and steady. Actions that once seemed chaotic and overwhelming now feel precise and intentional. Nothing on the outside has changed, but the person performing them has been transformed through discipline, patience, and quiet understanding. Leaving the training ground, the body feels deeply tired, yet the mind is calm and clear. There is no sense of victory or triumph, only a quiet awareness settling in. An awareness of limits that were pushed beyond what once seemed possible. An awareness of discipline that was not given, but earned through consistent effort and endurance. And an awareness that this journey does not truly end here, but continues forward, shaping every step that comes next, because this place was never designed to make life easier or more comfortable. Its true purpose was to make you stronger than difficulty itself, to shape you in a way that hardship no longer breaks your focus or spirit. And once this truth is understood, something powerful becomes clear. Kung Fu is not merely something you perform during training or display in front of others. It becomes something you carry within yourself, reflected in the way you walk, in the steadiness of your breath, and in the way you face challenges quietly and with strength, even when no one is watching. This is not about becoming dangerous, intimidating, or feared by others. It is not about learning how to harm, dominate, or prove superiority. It is about becoming unbreakable in a world that constantly applies pressure. It is about developing an inner structure so strong that stress, failure, criticism, and hardship no longer shatter your balance. An unbreakable person is not someone who never struggles, but someone who does not collapse when struggle arrives. They bend, adapt, and endure, carrying themselves forward even when conditions are harsh. To become unbreakable means learning how to remain steady when comfort disappears. Life does not warn you before it tests you. It does not ask whether you are reached.